The sun was setting behind the Thompson mansion, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Music thumped through the walls as Alex leaned against the marble counter of his family's kitchen island. He scrolled through his phone, barely paying attention to the party happening around him. Despite the crowd of young people laughing and dancing in his home, Alex felt empty inside. "Bored already?" asked Tyler, sliding up next to him with 2 drinks in hand. He pushed one towards Alex, who took it without much enthusiasm. "These parties all feel the same," Alex replied, looking around at the familiar faces. Sons and daughters of tech giants, real estate moguls, and finance wizards, all brought together by their parents' bank accounts rather than genuine connections. Tyler took a sip of his drink and grinned. "That's because you're not making them interesting enough." Alex raised an eyebrow. At 18, he had already experienced more luxury than most people would in their entire lives. His father's tech company had made billions, and Alex had never known what it meant to want for anything material. But lately, that privilege felt more like a curse. Nothing excited him anymore. "What did you have in mind?" Alex asked, curious despite himself. Tyler's eyes lit up as he pulled out his phone. "Let's make a bet. Something crazy that'll get your blood pumping again." A small crowd began to gather around them. Bets were a regular occurrence at these parties, challenges that only the obscenely wealthy could afford to take on. Last month, someone had bet their new sports car on a game of pool. The month before, a private island vacation had been wagered on who could get a celebrity's phone number. "I'm listening," Alex said, standing up straighter now. Tyler looked around at their friends, enjoying the attention. "I bet you can't walk into a store where a celebrity is shopping and buy out the entire place before they make their purchase." A chorus of oohs filled the kitchen. Someone whispered, "That's going to cost a fortune." Alex shrugged. "Money isn't the issue. Finding a celebrity at the right time and place would be impossible." "Not with my cousin working for TMZ," Tyler countered. "He can tip us off when someone famous is heading to shop." Alex considered it for a moment. The challenge did sound entertaining, something different at least. "What's in it for me?" "If you pull it off," Tyler said, "I'll donate $100,000 to any charity you choose." That caught Alex's attention. Recently, he'd been thinking about his family's wealth and what it really meant in the world. His mother had always emphasized giving back, but he'd never taken it seriously until now. "Make it $200,000, Alex countered. Tyler hesitated, then stuck out his hand. "Deal." As they shook on it, the other guests pulled out their phones, already placing side bets on whether Alex would succeed or fail. Alex felt a flutter of excitement in his chest, something he hadn't felt in months. "When do we start?" he asked. "Right now," Tyler replied, showing Alex his phone screen. "My cousin just texted. Big Shaq is heading to Footworkolite in about an hour to check out their new limited edition sneakers." Alex's eyes widened. Big Shaq, the basketball legend turned rap superstar, was no small target. This would make for an epic story, win or lose. "I need to change," Alex said, already heading for the stairs. "And get my platinum card." As Alex rushed to his room, he heard his friends cheering behind him. For the first time in ages, he felt alive. This wasn't just about the money or the challenge anymore, it was about doing something memorable. Little did he know that this silly bet would lead to a moment that would change his life forever. As he grabbed his wallet and keys, Alex had no idea that his encounter with Big Shaq would end up all over the internet, or that it would force him to confront what it truly meant to be privileged in a world where most people struggled daily. The game was on, and Alex Thompson was finally ready to play. Alex's sleek black sports car zipped through downtown traffic, weaving between lanes with practiced precision. His fingers tapped nervously on the steering wheel as Tyler worked his phone in the passenger seat. "Any updates?" Alex asked, glancing over at his friend. Tyler nodded, not looking up from his screen. "My cousin says Big Shaq just left his hotel. We've got maybe 15 minutes before he arrives at Footworkolite." Alex pressed down on the gas pedal, feeling a rush of adrenaline. The afternoon sun glinted off the glass storefronts as they approached the high-end shopping district. Footworkolite was the crown jewel of sneaker stores in the city, a boutique shop that specialized in limited editions and celebrity collaborations. "Park in the garage around the corner," Tyler suggested. "We don't want your car giving you away," You're supposed to be low-key, remember? Alex nodded, turning into the parking garage. He had changed into his most normal-looking clothes, faded jeans, a plain t-shirt, and a baseball cap pulled low over his eyes. Nothing about his appearance screamed son of a tech billionaire, which was exactly the point. "How do I look?" Alex asked as they walked toward the store. Tyler gave him a once-over. "Like a regular guy who definitely can't afford to buy out an entire store." Perfect disguise. They stopped a block away from Footwork Light. The store's sleek black exterior and minimalist logo stood out among the other high-end boutiques. A small crowd had already gathered outside. Word had somehow leaked that Big Shaq would be stopping by. "I should go in alone," Alex said. "You'll draw too much attention." Tyler nodded, handing Alex an earpiece. "Put this in. I'll be watching from the coffee shop across the street and can feed you updates." Alex slipped the tiny device into his ear and adjusted his cap. "Remember, if I pull this off, that's $200,000 to the children's hospital." Yeah, just don't choke when you see Big Shaq in person. I've heard he's even taller in real life." Alex took a deep breath and headed toward the store. He slipped past the growing crowd outside and pushed through the glass doors into Footwork Light. Inside, the store was a sneakerhead's dream. Pristine white walls and polished concrete floors provided the perfect backdrop for the colorful limited edition shoes displayed like artwork on illuminated shelves. "Can I help you find something?" a store employee asked, approaching Alex with a practiced smile. "Just browsing for now," Alex replied, trying to sound casual. He pretended to examine a pair of neon basketball shoes while surveying the layout of the store. There were about a dozen other customers inside, most likely hoping to catch a glimpse of Big Shaq as well. "He's 3 minutes out," Tyler's voice crackled in his ear. Black SUV just turned onto the main strip. Alex's heart began to race. He made his way toward the back of the store, near the premium collection where celebrities usually shopped. He picked up a random sneaker, pretending to study its details while actually watching the front door. A buzz of excitement rippled through the store. Employees straightened their postures and whispered to each other. Outside, the crowd noise grew louder. "He's here," Tyler said unnecessarily as the store's glass doors swung open. Big Shaq ducked slightly to enter the store, his tall frame commanding immediate attention. He wore designer sunglasses and a tracksuit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. 2 burly security guards flanked him, keeping either fans at a respectful distance. "Welcome to Footwork Light, sir," the store manager gushed, rushing forward to greet the celebrity. "We've set aside our newest exclusive releases for you to see first." Big Shaq nodded, his deep voice carrying through the store as he thanked the manager. Phones came out immediately as other customers tried to discreetly, and not so discreetly, take photos and videos. Alex stood frozen, the reality of his challenge suddenly hitting him. This wasn't just some nameless celebrity. This was Big Shaq, the man whose posters had covered his walls growing up. The man whose signature move Alex had practiced for countless hours on his family's private basketball court. "Don't just stand there," Tyler hissed in his ear. "Move closer, but don't be obvious." Alex snapped out of his trance and casually drifted toward the VIP section where Big Shaq was being shown several shoeboxes. The rap star examined each pair carefully, trying some on and setting others aside. "He's narrowing it down," Tyler reported. "Looks like he's almost ready to make his choice. You need to get to the register first." Alex's palms were sweating now. The store manager had brought out a particular pair that caught Big Shaq's attention, limited edition high tops in black and gold. The rap star nodded appreciatively, and the manager beamed. "I'll take these," Big Shaq's deep voice announced. It was now or never. Alex took a deep breath and started moving toward the checkout counter. Alex's heart pounded in his chest as he walked toward the checkout counter. Each step felt like he was moving through quicksand. Big Shaq was already heading in the same direction, those black and gold sneakers in hand. The famous rapper's security team cleared a path through the starstruck customers. "Move faster." Tyler's urgent voice crackled in Alex's ear. "He's going to beat you there." With a burst of courage, Alex picked up his pace. He slipped between 2 customers and reached the counter just seconds before Big Shaq. The cashier, a young man with wide eyes, looked back and forth between Alex and the approaching celebrity, clearly confused about who to serve first. "Can I help you?" The cashier asked Alex, though his eyes kept darting toward Big Shaq. Alex leaned in closer to the counter. This was it. The moment of truth. His mouth felt dry as sand. "I'd like to buy everything," he said quietly. The cashier blinked. "I'm sorry, what did you say?" Alex cleared his throat and spoke louder this time. "Everything. I want to buy everything in the store." A hush fell over the nearby customers who had overheard. The cashier laughed nervously, assuming it was a joke. "Sir, I don't think you understand. We have over—" "I understand perfectly," Alex interrupted, pulling out his platinum card and placing it on the counter. "Every shoe, every accessory, everything on display and in your stockroom. I'm buying it all." The cashier's smile faltered as he realized Alex might be serious. By now, Big Shaq had reached the counter and stood just a few feet away, waiting for his turn. The store manager hurried over, sensing a problem. "Is everything all right here?" the manager asked, his eyes darting between Alex and the superstar. "This customer says he wants to buy everything," the cashier explained, his voice rising in pitch with disbelief. The manager turned to Alex with a polite but firm expression. "Sir, I'm not sure if you're aware, but our inventory is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we're currently assisting Mr. Shaq here." Alex tapped his credit card on the counter. "I understand the cost, and I was here first." He tried to keep his voice steady, though his knees felt weak. He could feel Big Shaq's eyes on him now. The store grew quiet. Even the background music seemed to fade away. Everyone was watching the drama unfold. Alex saw several phones pointed in his direction, recording the scene. "What's going on?" Big Shaq's deep voice broke the silence. He stepped closer to Alex, towering over him like a skyscraper. The manager started to explain, fumbling over his words. "This young man says he wants to purchase our entire inventory, sir. I was just explaining to him that." "The whole store?" Big Shaq asked, raising an eyebrow above his designer sunglasses. Alex turned to face the celebrity, looking up to meet his gaze. "Yes, the whole store." For a tense moment, nobody spoke. Then Big Shaq let out a low chuckle that grew into a hearty laugh. "Man, that's wild. You got that kind of cash, little dude." Alex nodded, his confidence growing. "I do." The manager shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, processing such a transaction would take time. We'd need to inventory everything, contact our corporate office." Big Shaq held up a hand, silencing the manager. "Hold up, let's see if he's for real." He turned his full attention to Alex. "What's your name, kid?" "Alex Thompson," he replied, trying to keep his voice from shaking. Recognition flashed across the manager's face. "Thompson? As in?" Alex nodded. "Yes, that Thompson." The atmosphere in the store shifted. Whispers rippled through the crowd as people connected the dots. Alex could hear snippets of conversation. Tech billionaire's son and family worth billions. The manager's demeanor changed instantly. "Mr. Thompson, if you're serious about this purchase, we would of course be happy to accommodate you, though it might take some time to process." "That's fine," Alex said, gaining confidence with each word. "Start with these." He pointed to the black and gold sneakers in Big Shaq's hands. "I believe Mr. Shaq was interested in them." Big Shaq's expression shifted from amusement to something harder to read. He looked down at the sneakers, then back at Alex. "You buying these right out of my hands?" The entire store seemed to hold its breath. Alex could feel sweat beading on his forehead. This was the moment. The entire bet hinged on getting those shoes before Big Shaq could buy them. "I am," Alex confirmed, meeting the rapper's intense gaze. "Unless you'd like to race me to buying the whole place." Big Shaq's serious expression cracked, and he let out another deep laugh that seemed to shake the display shelves. "You got guts, I'll give you that." He handed the sneakers to the manager, who took them with shaking hands and passed them to the cashier. The transaction had begun. "This is crazy, man," Big Shaq said, shaking his head. "What are you going to do with all these shoes? You got 100 feet I don't know about." The crowd laughed, the tension breaking slightly. Phones were still recording everything. Alex knew this was going viral already. "Actually," Alex began, An idea forming in his mind. I have something specific in mind. The store manager ushered Alex and Big Shaq to a private room at the back of Footwork Elite, while staff began the enormous task of inventorying the entire store. The small office was clearly not designed for someone of Big Shaq's size. The famous rapper had to duck to enter the doorway and looked comically large in the office chair. "So, Mr. Thompson," the manager said, typing frantically on his computer, "our preliminary estimate puts the total value of our inventory at just over $420,000. Alex nodded calmly, though inside his stomach was doing flips. He'd spent large sums before, but never quite like this. "That's fine." "Are you for real, kid?" Big Shaq asked, leaning forward in his chair, which creaked under his weight. $400,000 on shoes, all because I wanted one pair. Alex felt his face grow hot. Put that way, it sounded ridiculous. "It's complicated." "I bet it is," Big Shaq said. He removed his sunglasses, revealing intense eyes that seemed to see right through Alex's act. "This some kind of rich kid prank. You got hidden cameras somewhere?" "No cameras," Alex answered honestly. "Well, except for all those phones out there recording everything." Big Shaq chuckled. "Yeah, we're probably trending already." His expression turned serious again. "So what's the real deal here? Nobody dropped $500,000 just for kicks." Alex hesitated. In his ear, Tyler was whispering frantically, "Don't tell him about the bet. Just say it's for charity or something." But looking at Big Shaq's direct stare, Alex couldn't bring himself to lie. It was a bet. Big Shaq raised an eyebrow. "A bet?" "My friend bet me that I couldn't buy out a store before a celebrity could make a purchase. If I won, he'd donate $200,000 to the Children's Hospital downtown." The manager looked up from his computer, clearly interested in this new drama. Big Shaq was quiet for a moment, then leaned back in his chair. "So you're telling me you're spending over $400,000 to win a $200,000 donation? That math don't add up, kid." Alex shrugged. "I would have donated anyway. This just made it more interesting." "Interesting," Big Shaq repeated, shaking his head. "You rich kids got strange hobbies." The door opened and a staff member poked her head in. "Sir, there's quite a crowd gathering outside. Someone leaked what's happening on social media. There are news vans pulling up." The manager looked panicked. "News vans? I need to call corporate." He hurried out of the room, leaving Alex and Big Shaq alone. An uncomfortable silence fell between them. Alex stared at his hands, suddenly feeling childish and embarrassed. What had seemed like an exciting challenge now felt like a spoiled kid's stunt. "You know," Big Shaq said finally, "I grew up with nothing. 6 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment. My first pair of basketball shoes were hand-me-downs from a neighbor." Alex looked up, surprised by the personal story. "When I got my first big paycheck," Big Shaq continued, "I bought my mama a house. Second paycheck, I set up a foundation for kids in my old neighborhood." He leaned forward again. "Never once thought about buying out a whole store just to show I could." The words stung because they were true. Alex felt shame washing over him. "I didn't think about it that way." "Clearly," Big Shaq said, though his tone wasn't unkind. "But the question is, what you thinking now?" Before Alex could answer, his phone buzzed with an incoming call. It was Tyler. He ignored it, but immediately another call came in. Then another. "Popular guy," Big Shaq observed. Alex checked his notifications and saw dozens of messages pouring in. His friends were sending him links to social media posts where videos of him at the counter were already going viral. Headlines reading "Billionaire's son buys entire store to spite Big Shaq" and "Rich kid's ultimate flex on rap star" were spreading like wildfire. "Oh no," Alex muttered, scrolling through the posts. Big Shaq pulled out his own phone. "Yeah, it's blowing up on my end too." He scrolled for a few seconds, then showed Alex his screen. "They're making you out to be some kind of villain, kid. Not a good look." The comments were brutal. People were calling him entitled, spoiled, arrogant, all the things he tried not to be despite his family's wealth. The narrative being built online was that he had deliberately tried to humiliate Big Shaq to show that his money could buy anything, even respect. That's not what I meant to do," Alex said quietly. Big Shaq studied him for a long moment. "Maybe not. But that's how it looks." He put his phone away. So what are you going to do about it? The manager burst back into the room, looking frazzled. The CEO is on his way, and there are reporters asking for statements. He turned to Alex. Mr. Thompson, your card has been approved for the full amount. We just need your signature on these forms. He slid a stack of papers across the desk. Alex stared at them, the pen feeling impossibly heavy in his hand. Outside, he could hear the growing noise of the crowd. His phone continued to buzz incessantly. In that moment, Alex realized he stood at a crossroads. He could complete the purchase, win the bet, and be labeled as the entitled rich kid who flexed on a celebrity. Or he could do something different, something that might change the narrative completely. He looked up at Big Shaq, who was watching him with curious eyes. Actually, Alex said, putting down the pen, I think I have a better idea. Big Shaq's serious expression slowly transformed into a smile. I'm listening, kid. Alex looked at the papers before him, then back at Big Shaq. The famous rapper waited patiently, his expression unreadable behind those designer sunglasses he put back on. What if, Alex began slowly, instead of buying everything for myself, we do something together, something bigger than both of us? Big Shaq raised an eyebrow. I'm listening. Alex took a deep breath. I'll still buy the whole inventory, but instead of taking it home, we donate most of it to kids who need shoes. Your foundation could help distribute them. For a moment, Big Shaq was silent. Then a slow smile spread across his face. Now that's more like it. But what about your bet? I'll technically still win the bet, Alex said. I bought everything before you could buy anything. My friend will have to donate that $200,000 to the children's hospital. The office door burst open and Tyler rushed in, out of breath. Alex? Are you crazy? The whole internet is talking about. He stopped short when he saw Big Shaq sitting there. Oh. Hello, Mr. Shaq, sir. Big fan. Big Shaq nodded at him. You the friend with the bet. Tyler's eyes widened. He told you about that? Yeah, he did, Big Shaq said, his voice taking on an edge that made Tyler step back. Pretty messed up bet, if you ask me. Tyler looked nervously between Alex and Big Shaq. It was just a joke, really. We didn't think. That's the problem, Big Shaq cut in. Y'all didn't think. The manager returned, looking even more anxious than before. Mr. Thompson, we really need to know if you're completing this purchase. There are news crews outside asking questions. Alex stood up. I am completing it, but with a change of plans. He turned to Big Shaq. Would you be willing to announce it with me? Big Shaq studied him for a long moment, then stood up as well, towering over everyone in the room. All right, kid, let's see what you've got. 10 minutes later, Alex stood outside Footwork Light with Big Shaq beside him. News cameras pointed at them from all directions. A crowd had gathered behind the hastily assembled police barrier, phones held high to capture whatever was happening. Ready? Big Shaq asked quietly. Alex nodded, though his legs felt like jelly. He'd been raised in wealth and privilege, but he'd never faced this kind of public scrutiny before. Big Shaq stepped forward and raised his hands. The crowd immediately went quiet. You're probably wondering what's going on, the rapper began, his deep voice easily carrying across the space. This young man here, he put a hand on Alex's shoulder, came into the store today and did something I've never seen before. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Alex could hear snippets. Tried to show up Big Shaq and spoiled rich kid. He bought out the entire store, Big Shaq continued. Every single shoe, every hat, every piece of merchandise. The crowd murmured, many faces showing disapproval. Alex felt his cheeks burning. At first, I thought it was just another rich kid stunt, Big Shaq said. Show him off trying to flex. We see that all the time, don't we? There were nods of agreement. Alex could see Tyler in the back of the crowd, watching with a worried expression. But then, Big Shaq's voice softened slightly. This young man surprised me. Alex, why don't you tell them what you plan to do with all these shoes? Alex stepped forward, his heart hammering. He'd never spoken in front of news cameras before. He took a deep breath, remembering what his mother always told him about using his privilege for good. I'm donating most of the inventory to kids who need shoes, he said, his voice stronger than he expected. Working with Big Shaq's foundation, we'll distribute these to community centers in neighborhoods where families can't afford $300 sneakers. The crowd's energy shifted. Surprise registered on many faces. And that's not all, Alex continued, gaining confidence. My friend Tyler, he pointed to the back of the crowd, made a bet with me that I couldn't buy out a store before a celebrity made a purchase. Since I won, he's donating $200,000 to the Children's Hospital downtown. All eyes turned to Tyler, who gave a weak wave and a thumbs up. And I'm matching that donation, Alex added, plus covering the cost of new inventory for this store so they can reopen tomorrow. Big Shaq nodded approvingly. See, that's what I'm talking about, using your blessings to bless others. He turned to Alex. But you know what? I think we can do even better. He pulled out his phone and made a quick call. Hey, it's me. Yeah, I need you to set up an event. Tomorrow. Footwork light. We're gonna have some kids coming in to get fitted for new kicks. He listened for a moment. Yeah, this young man Alex is covering it all. The crowd began to applaud. Someone shouted, "That's how you do it, Big Shaq." When he hung up, Big Shaq turned back to the cameras. Tomorrow, we're inviting 50 kids from the community center to come get outfitted with whatever they want from the new inventory. And I'll be here personally to meet every one of them. The applause grew louder. Alex stood, speechless, as the narrative transformed before his eyes. What had started as a thoughtless bet was becoming something meaningful. A reporter pushed forward. Alex, what made you change your plans from buying the shoes for yourself to donating them? Alex looked up at Big Shaq, then back at the reporter. Sometimes it takes someone showing you a different perspective to realize when you're making a mistake. I came here today thinking only about a silly bet, but I'm leaving with a much better understanding of what real impact looks like. Big Shaq put his arm around Alex's shoulders, a gesture that surprised everyone, especially Alex. This kid's all right, Big Shaq announced. He's learning. The next morning, Footwork Elite looked completely different. Overnight, the staff had restocked the shelves with fresh inventory. Colorful banners hung from the ceiling, and a DJ booth was set up in one corner, playing Big Shaq's latest hits at a modest volume. News crews were stationed outside, but this time they weren't allowed inside. This event wasn't for publicity, it was for the kids. Alex arrived early, dressed casually in jeans and a plain t-shirt. He barely slept, his mind racing with thoughts about everything that had happened. His parents had called after seeing him on the news. To his surprise, they weren't angry. His mother had actually sounded proud. Look who showed up on time, Big Shaq called out as Alex walked in. The rapper was arranging sneaker boxes on a display table, sleeves rolled up and actually doing the work himself rather than directing staff. Wouldn't miss it, Alex replied with a genuine smile. It felt strange. He'd spent so long feeling bored and disconnected from everything, but today he felt a buzz of excitement that had nothing to do with spending money on himself. Big Shaq walked over and handed Alex a staff t-shirt with the store's logo. Put this on. Today you're working retail, rich boy. Alex laughed and slipped the shirt over his head. I've never had a job before. I figured, Big Shaq said with a chuckle. Today, your job is to help these kids find shoes that fit right. No pushing the expensive stuff just because. Find out what they like, what they need, and hook them up. Got it? Alex nodded seriously. Got it. The store manager approached them, clipboard in hand. The buses from the community centers will be here in about 15 minutes. We've got 50 kids coming, ages 8 to 16. Each one gets a pair of shoes, a shirt, and a backpack. Perfect, Alex said. He noticed Tyler slipping through the front door, looking sheepish. Hey, you made it. Tyler held up a large envelope. Got the donation check for the hospital. And he pulled out another envelope. I matched it. $400,000 total. Big Shaq raised his eyebrows, impressed. Looks like both of you are learning something. Tyler held out his hand to Big Shaq. I'm sorry about the bet. It was stupid and disrespectful. The rapper studied him for a moment, then shook his hand. We all do dumb stuff. The question is whether we learn from it. The door chimes jingled as a few more people entered, Big Shaq's team carrying camera equipment. Hope you don't mind, Big Shaq said to Alex. Not for social media or anything. I just want to document this for the foundation. Show other celebs what they could be doing instead of just buying stuff for themselves. Alex nodded. That's a great idea. Outside, yellow school buses pulled up to the curb. The chatter inside the store died down as everyone watched the doors. The manager cleared his throat nervously. Here they come. The doors swung open and children poured in, their eyes wide with wonder at the gleaming store. They ranged from little kids who could barely contain their excitement to teenagers trying to play it cool despite their obvious awe. Each wore a name tag and was accompanied by a youth worker from their community center. For a moment, the kids didn't recognize Big Shaq, who had positioned himself behind a display. Then a boy pointed and shouted, "That's Big Shaq." The rapper grinned and stepped forward, arms wide, and the children rushed toward him, all pretense of coolness forgotten. Alex hung back, suddenly feeling out of place. These kids didn't know him, and why should they care about some rich teenager who'd made a foolish bet? But then Big Shaq waved him over. "This is my friend Alex," he told the kids. "He's the one who made today happen." The children turned to look at him with curious eyes. A small girl stepped forward, shy but determined. "Are you famous too?" Alex knelt down to her level. "No, I'm not famous. I'm just lucky enough to be able to help out today." Another child, a boy about 12, studied Alex skeptically. "I saw you on the news. You bought all the shoes." Alex nodded, feeling a flush of embarrassment. "I did. It wasn't my smartest moment." "But then you gave them away," the boy pressed. "Why?" It was a simple question, but it hit Alex hard. He glanced up at Big Shaq, who was watching the exchange with interest. "Because I realized there are better ways to use money than just showing off," Alex answered honestly. "And better people to give nice things to than myself." The boy considered this, then offered a fist bump. "That's cool." Something warm bloomed in Alex's chest as he returned the fist bump. It wasn't the rush of winning a bet or buying something expensive. It was something he hadn't felt in a long time, maybe ever. "All right, everybody," Big Shaq called out, clapping his hands. "Let's get you all some fresh kicks. Alex and Tyler here are gonna help you find your sizes." As the children dispersed throughout the store, Alex found himself surrounded by excited kids asking for help. For someone who had never worked a day in his life, it was overwhelming. But whenever he looked lost, Big Shaq would catch his eye and give an encouraging nod. By the end of the first hour, Alex had helped a dozen kids find perfect-fitting shoes. His feet hurt from kneeling and his back ached from reaching high shelves, but he couldn't remember the last time he'd felt so satisfied. 3 months had passed since the day at Footwork Light. Summer had turned to fall, and the viral videos of Alex and Big Shaq had mostly faded from social media. But something that started as a foolish bet had grown into something much bigger. Alex stood at the entrance of the newly renovated youth center, watching as kids poured in after school. The building, once crumbling and outdated, now featured bright murals, new basketball courts, and a state-of-the-art computer lab. A large sign above the entrance read Thompson Shaq Community Center, though Alex had initially protested putting his name on it. "There he is," called a familiar deep voice. Big Shaq strode across the parking lot, no entourage this time, dressed casually in jeans and a sweater. The man of the hour. Alex grinned and bumped fists with the rapper. What had begun as an awkward encounter had somehow blossomed into a genuine friendship. "Just checking on things before the official opening tomorrow," Alex explained as they walked inside together. "Hard to believe it all started with that stupid bet." Big Shaq chuckled. Sometimes the worst beginnings lead to the best endings. Inside, staff members were putting final touches on classrooms and activity spaces. The center would offer after-school programs, mentoring, sports, and arts, all free for kids from the surrounding neighborhoods. "Your dad drop off that last check?" Big Shaq asked as they toured the building. Alex nodded. "Yeah, and he's bringing his tech team next week to set up coding classes." He paused, still amazed at how enthusiastic his father had become about the project. "You know, my parents never really understood why I felt so empty before. But now they see what was missing. Purpose," Big Shaq said simply. "Money can't buy that." They stopped by the music studio, a soundproofed room with equipment donated by Big Shaq's record label. Through the glass, they could see Tyler showing a teenage boy how to use the mixing board. Tyler had surprised everyone by volunteering 3 days a week, teaching music production to teens interested in the industry. Your boy's got talent, Big Shaq observed. Never would have guessed that when I first met him. Alex smiled. People can surprise you when given the chance. A group of children ran past them in the hallway, laughing and chasing each other. One small boy skidded to a stop when he recognized them. "Hey, Alex." "Hey, Big Shaq," he called out. It was the same boy who had confronted Alex that first day at the shoe store. "Aren't you gonna watch our basketball game later?" "Wouldn't miss it," Alex promised. As the boy ran off to join his friends, Big Shaq shook his head in wonderment. "These kids look at you like you're a superhero now. Remember when all you wanted was to win a bet?" Alex felt a flush of embarrassment, but it was mixed with pride. "I was trying to cure boredom. Turns out I was just bored with myself." They made their way to the basketball court, where a coach was setting up for the afternoon game. The gleaming hardwood floor bore the logos of both Big Shaq's foundation and the Thompson Family Fund, a new charity Alex had started with his parents' help. "Your little stunt at the store was all over the news for what, a week?" Big Shaq said, picking up a basketball and spinning it on his finger. "But this place is gonna change lives for years. That's the difference between fame and impact." Alex nodded, taking in the lesson. "I've been thinking about what's next. College, maybe, but I want to keep this work going too." The foundation could use an intern next summer, Big Shaq offered casually. "No pay, though. You'd have to work for free like everyone else." Alex laughed. "I think I can afford it." The center's director approached them with a clipboard full of papers requiring signatures. As Big Shaq handled the business side, Alex wandered over to the wall of photos near the entrance. The centerpiece was a framed picture from that day at Footwork Elite. Alex and Big Shaq surrounded by smiling kids holding up new shoes. Next to it hung the original receipt for the entire store inventory, mounted like a trophy. "Still can't believe you spent over $400,000 on sneakers," said Tyler, who had joined him at the wall. "Best money I ever spent," Alex replied without hesitation. The sounds of children's laughter echoed through the hallways. Outside, more buses were arriving with kids eager to see the new center before its official opening. What had started as rich kids making bets at a boring party had somehow transformed into something that mattered. Big Shaq finished with the paperwork and walked over to them. "You know what I was thinking? We should do this in other cities too. Find empty buildings, fix them up, create safe spaces for kids." Alex thought about his family's resources, the connections he had, the platform he now shared with Big Shaq. For the first time in his life, he felt the weight of privilege as a responsibility rather than a birthright. "I'd like that," he said. "But next time, let's skip the part where I try to buy out a store, okay?" Big Shaq laughed and threw an arm around Alex's shoulders. "Deal. But I gotta say, as far as spoiled rich kid moments go, yours turned out pretty good in the end." The center's doors opened for the afternoon programs, and children streamed in, their faces lighting up at the sight of Big Shaq and Alex waiting to greet them. The boy who'd given Alex that first fist bump months ago ran up with a basketball. "Wanna play?" he asked simply. Alex looked at Big Shaq, who nodded encouragingly. "Absolutely," Alex replied, taking off his jacket. "But fair warning, I've been practicing." As they made their way to the court, surrounded by excited kids, Alex felt none of the emptiness that had once defined his life. Instead, there was purpose, connection, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that sometimes the most unexpected beginnings lead to the most meaningful journeys.